Good morning. This is Robbie Goodman here on Positive Stroke, staying clean, and I'm blessed to be here to share my recovery with you. And today we're going to talk about step 11. We sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. The, the first 10 steps have set the stage for us to improve our conscious contact with the God of our understanding. Many of us really begin to appreciate our recovery when we get to the 11th step. In the 11th step, our lives take on a deeper meaning. By surrendering control, we gain a far greater power. The nature of our belief will determine the manner of our prayers and meditations. When we first came in the program, we received help from a power greater than ourselves. This was set in motion by our surrender to the program. The more we improve our conscious contact with God through prayer and meditation, the easier it is to say, "Your will, not mine, be done." We can ask for God's help when we need it, and our lives get better. Yeah. So when I approached step 11, I already knew by my past history that my way was not working. I have 40 years in active addiction that I've destroyed my life, that made me lose people that I love. So I needed something to restore me to sanity. So I choose my high power to be God. So I learned to do the next right thing. And by me doing the next right thing, excuse me, by me doing the next right thing, my life got better. And I realized that it wasn't my will that I was doing. I was doing the will of God, that I understood Him, my perception of God, the way I believe in God. I understood that I gave up power and control of my direction. So what I started doing was meditating, praying to a power greater than myself, which I choose to call as God, to direct my path. Because Robert's path was not working. For 40 years, I destroyed my life. So I wasn't trusting myself to guide my recovery. I was not trusting myself to guide my recovery. And when I look back, excuse me, when I look back at my recovery, and when I made amends, and before I made amends, I made a list of people I've harmed, and I gave it to a power greater than myself, which I chose to call God, set it on fire, prayed with my sponsor, and let it go. And a weight was lifted off my shoulders. I felt like a new person, a new creature, a new human being, that I wasn't carrying that pain around anymore to cause me to pick up and use it to medicate myself. My belief and my understanding of God as I understood Him became my refuge, my help through traveling in recovery. And my life got better. My life continued to get better following this path. Yes, there are people that don't believe in God. So that's why in the program of recovery, we say a power greater than yourself restored you to sanity. Something other than yourself restored you to sanity. And that works for people that do not believe in God. But as I did my research on the steps and the program of recovery, it's a Bible-based program. It's a Bible-based program. You can't get around that. And by me learning this information, I realized that the program is telling me, Robert, you can't drive the car anymore. Every time you drive the car, you crash and burn. So let a power greater than yourself drive the car so you can restore yourself to sanity, to keep your sanity, to keep moving in the right direction. And being an addict, it is hard to give up control. It is very hard to give up control. That's why us recovering addicts, we take control back and we end up relapsing. We take control back and we end up relapsing. Going further down the rabbit hole, and a lot of times we don't make it back. So, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. So, I had to find out what was my purpose. What was my purpose? And it came like you turn on the faucet of water, the water just automatically flows. And my purpose is to share my strength and hope with others in the program of recovery, to help people find their way to live their best lives. And when I went into my final program, in-house program, that's where it started. Because what I was sharing in my groups, my counselors, the psychiatrists directed me and let me know that I have information that will help others. That the information that you're sharing in your groups, people are taking it to heart. And they respect and they care about you because you share your pain, you share your mistakes, but also you share a solution to the problem. And when I realized that I duped myself for 40 years, I kind of manipulated myself for 40 years. I fooled myself. I screwed up my own life for 40 years. I didn't want nobody else to ever do what I've done. I don't want nobody to do what I've done in my act of addiction. 50% of the things I did in my active addiction, I can't share because it will hurt me and it will hurt others. And the only way I can live with that and move forward in my recovery is to help others not fall victim to addiction. I had to learn with the damage I've done to others because of my active addiction, especially to myself, which is very painful at times. I destroyed my life in active addiction. I destroyed my life. And recovery gave me a new way of thinking, a new way of life. Living life on life's terms. But the fact still remains is I've destroyed my past life. I've destroyed my connection with loved ones that I care about. Destroyed my life. Recovery gave me a new life, a new way of thinking. I cannot change the past. And a lot of people will never forgive me for the things I've done to them. And there are people that are family members that are totally ashamed of the person I became in my active addiction, that they don't want to have nothing to do with me, no connection with me. So the only thing that I have is recovery and the life that recovery has given me. That means I've done a lot of bad things. And my life is so much better. But I also hurt privately because the connections that I've lost that I can't get back. But I don't go pick up and use over these things. I understand that my active addiction put me in the framework of destroying my life. And the pain that it has given me caused me to want to help other people not fall victim to addiction like I did. I don't want you to fall like I did. Trust me. Recovery taught me to live with the choices that I've made. To understand, not to beat myself up because I'm an addict. But it still hurts. And it will continue to hurt. But I don't pick up and use over it. I take that pain and try to help others not fall victim to addiction by sharing my strength and hopes with you on a daily basis. Living life on life's terms on a daily basis. Some days are easy, some days are not. but I don't go pick up over it. I don't change my behavior because things are not working out the way I choose them to be. I continue to move forward in the direction that I'm moving, and things get better. My purpose for Positive Stroke Staying Clean is to have a platform where a person can go and watch videos and to listen to someone that's been through some shit that screwed up his life, that hurt others, that was nobody, I was nothing nice. But I have to live with what I've done to myself and others, which at times gets overwhelming to me, but I don't go pick up and use, but I still feel the pain. But recovery taught me to understand the pain, to understand what I've done to myself and others, and how I can move forward in recovery of creating a new way of living, a new life, new friends, new family. Because I've destroyed everything else. And recovery taught me to have a gratitude list of the accomplishments I've made in recovery. And I understand why that's so important, because when you look at the wreckage of your past, when you look at what you've done to yourself and others in your act of addiction, you don't feel good about yourself. I don't care if you got 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. When you look back at that situation, you still feel the pain because you've destroyed your life. But you've created a new way of living, a new life for yourself. But you still destroyed your life in active addiction. Recovery teaches you how to live with that pain, to not pick up and use, to not be destructive anymore. But understand that due to the fact that you was addicted, you was in prison to want more and more. Your body told your brain, you better send some more of that dope down. Or we're going to make you suffer. We're going to make you wish that you should have listened to us. We want some more, and you're going to go get us some more. And that's the way my brain talked to my body. My body talked to my brain, and my brain made me do it. Because I'm an addict. And I made bad choices, bad decisions, and destroyed my life. So I truly have no one to blame but myself, which makes it even more painful because I destroyed people, I hurt people, I destroyed my life with my family and friends. I created a new way of living, a new life for myself. This is what we do in recovery, to replace the damage we've done to ourselves and others, to have a meaningful life that we built. We hold on to the gratitude because the pain of our addiction hurts deeply. So we need to focus on the positive of our recovery to keep us moving forward in recovery. I understand how it's easy to slip back down the road of addiction, because even though I got recovery, even though I live life on life's terms. Even though I do what's suggested of me, I still feel pain from my mistakes from the past. I still feel it. But I'm not blaming nobody. I'm blaming myself. Which keeps me humble, which keeps me humble, which keeps me humble to do the next right thing. When I focus that Robert did it to himself by medicating himself to not feel the pain and the trauma of his past, to not work on these things, to medicate myself, and thought that that was going to work, that instead of me solving the problem, finding a solution, I medicated myself so I wouldn't have to feel the problem, so I have to work on the problem. But the funny thing about my addiction is it lived rent-free in my head. It kept coming back, and I kept medicating myself more and more until what was helping me became my prison. And now that I see that in my recovery, I see that I did it to myself. I made the choices because I didn't want to solve the problem. All I wanted to do was medicate myself. So I have to live with what I've done to myself and others. That's recovery. That's recovery. To not pass the buck, not to give it to somebody else, but own up to my own mistakes. That's what makes me better. That's what makes me better. Living life on life's terms. So, step 11, slug through prayer and meditation to prove my conscious contact with God as I understood and praying only for his knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. Meaning that I need to be more connected to my higher power, which I choose to call as God, to find out the will that he has for me. And I have found it. Sharing my strength and hopes with those willing to listen. I created the YouTube channel, Positive Stroke Staying Clean, for that purpose. And then I made more about alcohol, more about addiction. More about addiction. I created that on YouTube. Then I created fun and motivational on YouTube. So I created 3 different channels, all dealing with addiction. Fun and motivational is to keep you motivated to do the next right thing, that you're on the right path, that you're doing what you need to do for yourself, that your life is getting better. And I did all this because I believe this is what my higher power wants me to do. Because it becomes so easy for me. It's like second nature. I have no problem sharing my strength, my hopes, my shame, my hurt with the public. Because I don't want nobody to suffer an active addiction like I did. You have no idea of what I've done to myself and others. and you probably won't. But you will hear tits and little pieces of that to help you focus on finding your way in recovery. I had to find my way in recovery. I had to build a life for myself in recovery. And you have to do the same for yourself. But remember, meditation and prayer will give you a closer connection with a power greater than yourself to give you peace and understanding on where you should go and how you should work your recovery. I hope what I share with you keeps you focused on your recovery. Because when you keep the focus on your recovery, when you keep the focus on yourself, like I keep the focus on myself, my life gets better. And it lets me know that I'm an imperfect person and I make mistakes, which keeps me humble to change my behavior to do the next right thing. To do the next right thing. Not my will, but my higher power's will. So, remember, in order for you to live your best life, you must keep the focus on yourself. Learn everything about yourself. Why you've done the things you've done in your active addiction, the choices that you made, what damage you've done to yourself, what damage people have done to you. And when you get a clear understanding of the truth of your past, then you can move forward in your recovery, living on life's terms, one day at a time. This is Robert Goodman, Positive Stroke, wishing you a great day. And remember, you are the most important person to yourself. You can make your life better by keeping the focus on yourself. Love yourself by checking yourself. Love yourself by cleaning the wreckage of your past. Love yourself by owning up to the mistakes you've made so you don't make these mistakes anymore. So you can learn from your mistakes and understand yourself better. The more I keep the focus on myself, the better Robert becomes. The more humble I become. Because one thing is for sure, I found out in active addiction that my way was not working. So Robert doesn't drive the car anymore. You have a great and wonderful day.